Lie, 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 lie.
I'm going to continue on our ADL bash because we have some issues with the ADL, and everybody should have issues with them. Let's go to my website. Here's my website here. I have a whole thing on them. You can see here, if you bring that up, I'm going to click on the topic ADL Go to Hell. And when it comes up, there's going to be a video. It's a 52-minute video, I believe, here on the site. You can click on it if you really want to hear William Cooper talking about it. It's actually an audio, but it is like video, audio type of thing. And he talks about that there. So you can definitely watch what he has to say about the ADL. But anyway, my site here, all things about the ADL, everything to know about. Well, Joe got into Leo Frank. Here's an article about the ADL being sued by these folks named the Quigley's because the ADL was spying on them. And then I get into some of these articles here, the ugly truth about the ADL, blah blah blah. I mean, there's a ton of information on my site. But the thing I want to show you is there's an article that I'm going to bring up here, and it's right here. And this is from the book. Okay, this is, let me just see if I get this in so you can see it better. All right, this is from the book, The Ugly Truth About the ADL. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read some of this because this is very, very important for you to know. Okay, what can you do? And here's what I'm going to show right here. It says, it should be clear by now that the ADL is one of the most pernicious agencies working to destroy the United States through the subversion of law and moral values, through the peddling of illegal drugs, through the blackmailing and extortion against Congress, through the looting and trashing of our industrial and manufacturing base, and through its collusion with the hostile foreign agencies. Volumes could be written cataloging the century of treachery by the ADL and its mother lodge, the Order of the B'nai B'rith. Now, this book, again, we're at the end of this book, okay? So all those things that it mentions there about what the ADL is involved on, think about it. They were involved in illegal, they probably still are, illegal drugs, blackmailing, extortion, looting, and trashing of our industrial manufacturing base, collusion with foreign agencies, blah, blah, blah. Those are the things that they're involved in, and many more we're going to consider. Now, but it's not time to dwell on details. Now is the time to do something. The ADL continues to thrive as long as Americans remain passive in the face of the subversion. The ADL is not out there. It is alive and well in your own backyard. So what can you do? Although it maintains its national headquarters at the United Nations Plaza in New York City, now they're right with the Trilateral Commission now. The ADL now has offices in 31 cities across the United States. The ADL has divided the entire country into regions so that even those cities and states where the ADL does not maintain full-time offices are targeted by their subversive activity. What kinds of things does the ADL do that intimidates or intimately affects your life and the lives of your children and its neighbors? Well, let's consider. They have infiltrated your local police, and we already explained that, okay? The local police, they have already done that in Framingham, all right? They have got involved with the Framingham police. They sent Chief Carl to Israel to learn the tactics of the Mossad, and they are bringing all those things they're learning here, okay? So we know that, all right? And now here it says since the 80s, this is interesting, they've sponsored, I already mentioned that about the junkets with the police and the law enforcement. It says the top cops are wined and dined, given a hard sell by the Mossad, all right? And then again, it says the Israeli government's brutal treatment of the Palestinian residents of the occupied territories is held up as a model of how to deal with protesters and demonstrators. So they bring the police from the United States over there so the police can learn how to beat on people, because the Israelis are perfect examples of how to beat on people in Palestine. So the United States police are learning that. Can you imagine that? Okay, let's go back. It says, beginning in 1982, the ADL launched an ambitious drive to have every state in the Union pass a hate crime law modeled on the League's own draft legislation. The bills all add longer prison sentences and steeper fines in cases where a crime victim was targeted because of his or her race, religion, or nationality. Although prejudice is an evil, that must be overcome. The ADL bills, which are now on the books in all but 4 states, they create a category of Orwellian thought crimes in flagrant violation of the United States Constitution. Recently, the United States Supreme Court and the state Supreme Courts of Wisconsin and Ohio have struck down versions of the ADL hate crime bill as violations of the First, Fifth, and Sixth Amendments. Despite these recent reversals, the ADL has managed to play the hate crime push into deeper infiltration, and subversion of law enforcement. Though its assets in the United States Congress, through its assets, the ADL pushed through a string of federal laws requiring the U.S. Attorneys General to prepare an annual report on incidents of hate crime. Having cornered the market in monitoring so-called hate crimes, the ADL was able to insinuate its regional offices into police training seminars, practically writing the curricula and drafting all the textbooks and training aids. Not only has ADL made millions of dollars peddling this Orwellian hate crime racket, it has also used the infiltration of law enforcement to spread its own brand of hatred. Blacks are inherently anti-Semitic. Arabs, including Arab Americans, are subhuman. Anyone opposed to the Zionist lobby is automatically suspect as a left radical or right radical anti-Semitic terrorist. As citizens and taxpayers, you have the right to know whether your local police has been subjected to the brainwashing by the ADL. Ask your police chief or sheriff whether he has been on the ADL junkets or whether his department has received ADL training. If the answer is yes, demand to see the training manuals. Find out whether the ADL is helping your local police or sheriffs in maintaining their informants by either financing those programs or even running them. As far-fetched as it might seem, especially given that you now know about the ADL's ties to organized crimes, there are local police departments around the country that have brought the ADL into their most sensitive intelligence gathering, usually out of naivety and desperation over shrinking budgets. Let me just talk about this for a minute here. Most towns are having problems paying for the police and all these type of things here. So what the ADL do is, because the ADL has plenty of money, they're shoveling that money into the police departments and giving them, certain things or benefits or whatever, maybe equipment, I don't even know. I'd have to look into what Framingham is doing. And this way, they have to really kind of like answer to the ADL now and do what they want because they're giving them gifts. You see how it works? Very dangerous situation. And we already explained to you that we already know that the ADL is in bed with the Framingham Police Department. We already know that because Chief Kyle already went to Israel to learn from them. So this is a really, really big problem. Now, let's find out how they're subverting our schools. It says they are subverting your children's education, complementing their highly successful infiltration and subversion of your local police and sheriff's departments. The gangsters and social engineers over at the ADL have conducted an equally pernicious assault into your school system using some of the most sophisticated New Age techniques. Now, under the rubric of their A World of Difference program, ADL officials have succeeded in training tens of thousands of public school teachers and administrators to combat prejudice. In fact, teachers all over the country have been exposed to the ADL prejudice curriculum, have complained bitterly that the film strips, training volumes, and other slick multi-tools peddled by the League actually teaches prejudice against African Americans, Arabs, Catholics, and others. All right, let me just stop for a minute and talk about that. So what's happening here is they're infiltrating the school systems and, again, doing the same things, the bearer of gifts with the teachers and all these type of things because they want to get their agenda into the curriculum so they can brainwash the young kids with this crap. And this is what they're doing. All right. It says, despite these occasionally surface protests, the ADL has managed to penetrate deep into the school system, in part due to the assistance of the National Education Association, one of the largest teachers' union and a longtime peddler of New Age values and curriculum. The World of Difference program, which got its start in 1986, is operating in 26 of 31 regional ADL offices. Concretely, this means that the chances are very good that your children and their teachers have been exposed to this AL subversive propaganda through its ties to the Hollywood entertainment industry. Dating back to the gangster era of Prohibition, the ADL frequently attracts well-known Hollywood celebrities to participate in their classroom videos, thus adding to the aura of respectability. And this is interesting. It says, what the ADL avoids mentioning is the fact that the money to launch the World of Difference program there came from Hollywood's own junk bond king insider trader Michael Milken. Milken personally ripped off billions of dollars from the U.S. economy during the 1980s. In appreciation for the ADL's role in covering up his crimes, he passed millions of the dollars into their hands. One of those $1 million tax write-offs went to this A World of Difference program there. Just as you have the right to know whether your local police and sheriffs have been subjected to ADL training, you are entitled to know whether the public school is financed by their propaganda too. The next time you attend a PTA meeting, speak to your children's teachers or the principal. Ask them about the World of Difference program. Is it being used in your children's school? All right, so anyway, this just gets on to a couple things here. But as you can see, you know, you can actually, if you want to get this book, okay, The Ugly Truth About the ADL, you can do a search on the internet for it. All right, it's called The Ugly Truth About the ADL. I really encourage you to get this book because you have to know what they're doing out there, because they are definitely a subversive group that has no love for God, no love for Christianity, no love for anything that's morally good. Okay, because all the things they're involved in have been bad from day one. And when you trace it back from 1913, you know, from the Leo Frank era all the way to now, it's a very corrupt, devious, perverted organization. And they come against us. See, they're the ones that get mad with us. And I'll just tell you right now, when our show was taken off the air last year or whatever it was, they were the ones responsible for doing that, okay? They were the ones that put the pressure on the FPAC studio, or called whatever it is called now here. But anyway, they're the ones that were behind it. You understand how it works? They didn't like us exposing them. It's going to be interesting to see what happens with this show, what they're going to say about this show. But anyway, I encourage you to order these books. Here it is here. Joe, bring that up in the back window. I want people to see this. If you want to get that book, The Ugly Truth About the ADL, and know what they're doing, their background, how they originated, I definitely encourage you to get this book here. Okay, The Ugly Truth About the ADL. You can find it here, all right? Or you can call this phone number, 1-800-453-4106, all right? And you can order it. I actually just ordered the book online on Amazon. I think I got the book for $7. That included shipping. So if you go to Amazon.com and go look for the book, The Ugly Truth About the ADL, you're going to be able to get the book there for $7. Well, I got it for $7 anyway. So hopefully you'll do that. And it's an excellent book. Like I said, it's going to show you exactly what's going on with them. And it's just going to blow you away to see where this country has gone and who is behind it, who is actually masterminding all these things that are happening. The hate crime laws, you see stuff like that. The big push on anti-Semitism, what is it? You know what I mean? Anybody that criticizes Israel is an anti-Semite. You see how it works? I mean, hey, I got a beef with Israel. Israel is a murderous, apartheid, terrorist state. I got a perfect right to say, I don't like you. Okay, I don't like you. We don't hate Jews, but we do hate what Israel stands for.